Well,
if you know
yeah,
what I mean.
that's true.
They
Some
kind
people,
of, they kind of get all serious and it's like, oh my
I
gosh, it's
know.
recording. So I just wanted to be in the background. Yeah. I wanted to be in the background and just
Oh gosh, this is
so
the
that
first time I'm using this, and I'm seeing what a wide view ha it has. Let me close my bedroom door. There we go.
I love the paintings in the background. Absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you. That we'll talk a little bit about those because of the questions that you've posed. I went through all the questions and stuff, and there is
Well, I hope
something.
that you like the questions. I'm just, I was just thinking, okay, well, what's the theme that I want from this? So, sort of I've thrown them together,
Well,
but I
the
just,
questions are really good, really,
good,
really, yeah,
good.
yeah.
So I just want to say, welcome, James, to this new exciting project that I am doing. I feel like I spend my life creating new projects, but I feel really good about this one. I think it has a potential of being, a really beautiful exploration and connection to the collective and
Yeah.
a way of supporting individuals in many different capacities. One of the things that I really wanted to achieve or to start with when it came to the Weavers of Consciousness and this particular podcast was to connect with normal people, people from all walks of life, people that all, sort of when we live, we all have our own experiences and our own challenges and our own ways of healing and working through life. And we don't really share it with people. And I think everyone has internal wisdom.
Oh, that's why
And
we're here.
I think
Yeah.
it's really important to create a hub where, we have people such as yourself, this beautiful painter, artist, and soul light healer. I'm going to read the bio so that we have it on record. But
Mm.
you sent me the bio. I am a soul of pure light, and in the expression of that light, a messenger, an artist receiving the wisdom needed for ascension, here to assist all who are ready in the returning home to the awareness of ourselves and souls. I hope I gave that enough justice. I'm sure that I didn't read it with enough justice. But I remember when I first met you, James, and it was quite a few years ago now.
It
And
has been.
it has, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by your work. Sort of I love art and I was very called to reach out and kind of to say, I want to know more, who are you?
Yeah.
And with that in mind, sort of I wanted to invite people such as yourselves. I wanted to invite artists, painters, poets, as well as practitioners, but
Mm.
anybody that has something that they want to share from their heart
Mm.
to the public to realize that, yes, we're going through really, really challenging times. But it's really interesting because I find it really challenging myself where you're seeing the world online and the world online seems to be everyone, unless you're looking at the doom scrolling, everyone seems to be happy, everyone is selling something or, but it's not real.
No, no, that's the script.
That
It's the
exactly.
script. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, on the other hand, then you have the doom side of things, which is terrifying, and you see the wars and the despair. And, I have a lot of despair in clinic. A lot of people come to me with a lot of despair.
Mm.
And it's that kind of trying to find an equalizer or a a tone, sort of, I always talk about vibration and resonance, a tone that we can all connect to that
Suddenly I can't hear you
can
speaking.
for accepting to join today. And I want to ask you, how did you get into your art, and what called you to do what you do?
Mm. I think I have missed a part of what you said. For sudden, you froze for a second, and then your voice went out.
I was going to say, what calls you to do what you do? What was
But
the
the last thing I heard you say was in clinic. I see a
in
lot of
clinic?
do.
Yes, I was saying that in clinic I have a lot of despair. I have a lot of individuals that are really struggling with their system, but also with the system that we're living in. And
Yes.
there is so much despair that a lot of people are like, I don't understand what the point of actually even being here is.
Mm, mm,
So I'm trying to find a way that we can connect to each other so that we can kind of equalize or find a tone, find a rhythm that we
hmm.
can all, sort of connect to. And I
Yeah.
know that you always talk about the divine, and I've expressed the divine in my way with vibrational resonance and the quantum field. But
Yep.
I wonder, sort of what brings you to doing your art, because your art is very soul led, and I find that you guide a lot of people through your
Mm,
art. You support people with what you do. So if you could explain to our listeners first, what is it
mm.
that you do?
Yeah. Thank you. I want to say thank you for always peeking in every time I'm doing something and all of a sudden and you come on and see something, you have something absolutely beautiful and supportive to say. And I want to thank you for that because it is important that we support one another, just exactly in what you're doing. And I'll say that you mentioned the person that's all smiley and good and on the, and presenting something, and then there's a doom. Believe it or not, both of those are coming from the same place, the exact same place. The place of a mask of sorts that that is created by one of the questions that you're going to pose, and I'll wait till we get there. Um, since childhood, I have been aware of what is beyond the mind and the perceptions of the five senses, and even the most expansive, intelligent, people with someone with a 200 IQ, I always was aware that there was something beyond that. And since childhood, it's been part of what was then my mode of survival because I was raised in a very, very, very violent home, a very emotionally, psychologically, and physically violent space that was my home as a child. And my painting now started back then, being able to see the pieces of the puzzle so that I could survive. There was something that just kept pulling me forward. And I know now that it is the soul self. And the art has come about in the last 8 or 9 years at this level of what I'm doing now, because I finally took the step to say, okay, I'm going to close my catering business. There's something that's calling me to be with the earth. I really don't know all about it and what it is that's calling me, though many things have called me during my journey here. But this was something much bigger than I had ever experienced before.
Wow.
And from the beginning, it was a teaching first and foremost for myself. I cannot paint anything that I can't conceive, meaning yes, I could paint a tree because I can see it right outside my window. But the message that the painting holds is much different than just painting the physical tree. And that is where people are feeling imprisoned and in this doom thing, or all smiley like they're on Xanax and like wait a minute, are you feeling any of this stuff that's going on in the world? And it doesn't look like it, but that's the mask.
Yeah.
Um, so the painting came about when I came here where I'm living now in rural Kentucky, in the state where I was born. And I first sat by a creek and received ancestors that had messages for me and asked me that there was this creek. It's actually maybe a small river or a creek, and much blood had been shed there. And they called me to come there and build a bridge, a vibrational bridge that would go over there so that when the water passed through it, the water would be cleansed. And the water that holds the history of the things that had occurred there. My mother's side of the family are all Native Americans, and so it was those ancestors that came and asked for that. And when I finished that, all of a sudden I was shown like a little symbol. What I thought was a symbol, now I know as a vibrational signature of that moment. And so I, got my little pencil and I think it was a colored pencil and started drawing. And what I had seen, and in the first couple of years, it was about getting my mind out of the way. Always, did I make that mark right? And is it angled right? Is it, the mind getting in the way of that freedom of expression? And as I peeled that away, the messages became more and more and more and more profound. And important to express is that while the image may call to you and be attractive, what the vibrational intention for its presence here in this physical realm, that's where the magic is. That's where that wisdom that we're looking for that can assist us to find common ground that's where it resides. So that's how
Beautiful.
it all started.
Beautiful. And now how do you get your inspiration? Or do you get your inspiration by the people that connect to you that ask for help?
Both, both. If there's something for me to become more aware of, when I'm out walking the dog, or mostly when I'm in nature, I have literally walked by trees, and the tree has been a really big messenger for me.
Mm.
And I can walk by a tree, and you'll feel it. You'll feel this stillness. If you're walking in a park where there are other people, there's the hello, people passing and all of that energy. But then suddenly there's
Oh,
this really quiet place. Are we there?
we're there. Sorry, I wasn't
Okay.
expecting that.
Okay. There's exactly that me in the beginning I wasn't either, and all of a sudden I go, what is that? And then okay, okay, that's communication. That's the vibrational field reaching out to me to connect, to enter into that synthesis. And when I turn to, for example, a tree or an entire forest, it's like suddenly there'll be this sphere of like a projector, but we don't have a projector for us would put something on a flat screen.
Yeah.
This is a sphere, something like this.
Wow.
And within that sphere, all kinds of images and feelings, vibrational frequencies. You can play a chord on a piano, and without ever seeing that chord being played, it'll make you feel something, that kind of thing. And now I know that when that feeling of that that stillness that comes, that expanded state, I just become still. And I just listen. I become the receiver.
Mm.
And that's a word we'll use a few times today because getting into that state of receiving where no preconceived ideas, no, this is how it should, none of that. You just let all that go and just let source itself express what it has to express.
It's interesting because I hear the word trust, and it's the same word that came
Hmm.
about when you was describing the fact that you closed your business and then you left, and
Hmm.
and it's having that internal trust
Hmm.
that you're
Yes.
being guided to do the right thing. But I find that a lot of people nowadays are looking for that trust, are looking for that sensation that we're talking about. But
Hmm.
be, many of them, because they're not actually in alignment. Like, for example, you walk and you know what silence is. So you can notice when things are not in alignment. Whereas when the majority, well, not majority, that's a huge statement, but a lot of people, they're looking for the sign, they're looking for the thing, and then they throw themselves off a cliff saying, well, I'm just going to trust
Yeah.
without actually really feeling their center and really connecting to that field or that, that quantum, that divine, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
um, so that you can notice the difference in the vibrational resonance of where you are in connection to that.
Yeah. Well, and what you were just saying, the thing of it that keeps people from reaching that stillness and that centeredness and that synthesis with it is that they keep looking outside themselves. And it's all right in here. We need no longer. We've gone through a phase where there were many teachers and whatever, shamans, gurus, healers, mediums, and all these things. But that phase is ended now.
Mm.
It is now time for each one to look within to themselves, and that's the word, trust.
Yeah.
Because it I mean, there are some people that experience really some a big event and that really just shakes them and opens their eyes and oh my God, there it is, you know. But for the most of us, it literally begins in whispers.
Yeah.
And that whisper is to say, can you hear me?
Mm.
Meaning that soul within you that is an expression of light of the creator itself. Can
Yeah.
you hear me? Okay, well, now you hear me. Will you listen? Will you go beyond, oh, what's up here?
The mind, yes.
Yeah, the limitation of the mind, because the mind can conceive only about 1.5% of what exists. All of the rest of the magic and all that thing is in the 98.5% that is beyond the perceiving, no matter how advanced or evolved the mind is, it doesn't have the capacities to perceive the vibrational field that is the quantum field itself.
No, well, it's really interesting that you say that because literally this afternoon, I had a window of opportunity. I didn't have, sort of a patient cancelled. And I'm about to attend a course next week on the human brain.
Mm,
And, because I always like to bring science and energy
sure.
together because that's what we are. So for me, anatomy is really important on how we actually are created, how
Yes.
our vessel is functioning. Because if we can work out how that functions, then we can, kind of move the wood from the trees as such. And it's exactly what you said, sort of the brain is the receptor, it's the translator for all our sensory system.
Yes.
But the heart is what connects to the divine or source or Gaia or Allah or Christ or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The heart is what connects to that. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because when we are a tiny, tiny little embryo, the first organ to be created is the heart. It's not the brain.
No.
It's the central nervous system and the heart.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to think, okay, well, the central nervous system is our electricity, it's our magnetism, it's basically our vibration.
Mhm.
And the heart is also our vibration. The brain
Yeah.
is just what tells the system, okay, I'm feeling cold, I'm feeling frightened, I need to release these hormones, I need to release these organs, I need to do this to my organs. And that's why, sort of we're always fighting with the brain heart situation.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me that we need to sit in our heart a lot more than our brain to be able to
Hmm.
hear that knowing that you're talking about.
Yes. Because the brain is the logistics part of it. Okay, I can receive these vibrations and I can receive these messages and all of this wisdom, but it takes my brain to know how to pick up a pen, a brush and the bowls and the paints and all of that stuff. What happens is sometimes the egoic mind gets in the way. It's like, oh, did I do that right? Oh, is this good enough? All of that mess. That's the part that we need to get beyond because beliefs are nothing but barriers to the receiving of wisdom. Any belief, because reality is a constant state of change, transformation, and growth.
Mm.
If you believe in something static, no, this is this, it's this. Well, wait until tomorrow because it might be a little different than what you saw right there. And then you'll suddenly realize that, well, tomorrow, well, it's still changing and it's still different. Therein resides a big part of the challenge for most is because the mind feels comfortable. It's
Mm.
familiar. And the familiar way. My eyes can see that there goes a bird, or the weather is this or that, or my ears can hear the music, or all those things. But what is calling to us now to return home is beyond all of that.
So
And
how do you see that calling for different people? Because it feels to me, obviously, with you, you have a practice, you allow space for that to appear.
I live in that space now.
Yeah. So how, if you don't live in that space, what would you recommend to somebody who wants to start connecting to that space?
Nature is the most powerful connector.
Mm.
Literally, something as simple as, and I know we've heard about this, but we've heard about this in books that say it has to be done this way and all this kind of stuff. But there is something so powerful to go and find the largest tree that you can, or the tree that calls to you. Go into the forest or the woods or a park. If you're in the city, a park, and let yourself be called by nature.
Mm.
If it is that you are called to go and sit under a tree, do that. If it is that there's water there and you're called to go and sit beside that water, do that. That's the whispers.
Mm.
And beginning to listen to the whispers, something powerful that you can do that can turn up the volume of that is to be, for example, if you're going by the water, put your hand in the water. That amplifies. If you're called to go and sit under the tree, lean back against the tree, but find its roots.
Mm.
Put your hands, especially your left hand, Your left hand is your more powerful receiver. They both are. They both work in it's just like the wave comes in and the wave comes out. There is a flow that goes through both ways. It's just like breath. Breath comes into the lungs and it goes out of the lungs, and both are important for that harmony, for that synthesis. If you're sitting under a tree, find roots, put your hands on the roots.
Mm.
You can feel it. I can feel it right now. I can feel that vibration because I'm focusing in that place in the field, and you immediately will receive something. I don't care if it's just a message for you to look up at a bird. It's those simple little things that source will begin with. Just like you go to school, you learn your ABCs, you learn
Yeah.
your things. And I know that may seem like, well, wait a minute. Well, this is a new realm, because we once dwelled in that realm until we began to do this, until we began to utilize verbal communication and no longer be in that vibrational field. That field has evolved. So there is a new field for us now to return home to with all kinds of new things and all kinds of new expressions and capabilities. And I think some people that are actually reaching that doom or gloom or whatever you said you received there in your practice is because they realize that they've reached the end of what their minds are capable of, but yet can't see what's beyond that.
Mm.
And that's the work that I focus on doing. So those are just a couple of examples of going into nature. If you're called somewhere, if you're called to climb the mountain, go up there, but be with the mountain. If you're going high enough to need oxygen, take the oxygen off for a moment
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let yourself really be there.
Really disconnect. And I
Okay.
find that it's really important. And
Well, no,
we
no,
all
it's
do
not.
it.
We shouldn't focus on disconnecting.
No, disconnecting from
Hmm.
scrolling and the
Focus
computer
on
and work
focus
and
on the connecting.
mm,
Because if we try and focus on the disconnecting, we'll just get more to disconnect from.
fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
When we focus on the connect, let if it is the tree and you're kind of nestling in and getting comfortable, let yourself notice the grass that's there. Let yourself notice the little bugs that might be, crawling, or the butterfly that's coming by you because you're getting into that field. So things like that will come to you. And let yourself notice the texture of the wood on the roots. Those are the simple things that tactilely we can do. But when we do that, then more things open up. And it is important to focus on the connection, on the synthesis part of it.
Mm,
Because again, if we focus on what, oh, well, no, let me get rid of that. No, well, then you're stuck there, you
yeah.
know. Focus on the connecting. And if the
Yeah, it's
mind
kind of
starts,
change your focus rather than disconnect. Change your focus into
that
the now and into where you are, wherever it is that you are.
yes, and you use the word that's most important. The mind does not have the capacity to focus now. It can only focus on what was or what might be. It is the heart space that focuses now because that's where the soul resides. That's
Mm,
when we know, when we're coming into that now moment of noticing the little things that are there, because those little things will then lead you to all that is then connected with this piece, and suddenly you've got a synthesis. Well, then those pieces are connected to even a larger piece. And that is the reality of how we connect with the realm, because this word human keeps people more imprisoned than
mm,
almost any other, because many, many, many want to believe that we're just human or that we're here just to have a human experience, and that couldn't be further from reality. Reality is that we have always been. There isn't a human that gives life to this form. What gives life and animation to this form is the presence of the soul,
mm.
the vibrational presence of the soul. And it is what was always intended to guide the journey, to the eyes through which the journey is seen, no matter what might be happening. Was intended to be seen through the eyes of the soul. But because we came into this mind-based perspective and then have gone down a really long road into the deeper and deeper and deeper into that, the awareness of that power of the soul has been lost.
Mm.
But there are so many things that are calling us back now.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I love how you just said it because I do find, sort of as you know, I'm a forever student and I'm always, sort of my mind is always wanting more. And I was only studying embryology last year, and I remember being in awe at the fact that, yeah, sort of the soul is the thing that comes out first, and then it's the system starts building. And the way
Mm.
that the system builds itself, it's like a 3D printer. It's like literally cells scanning on top of each other. So,
Mhm.
and all these cells don't have an identity yet because as they build, they decide, okay, well, I'm going to be a heart and I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. But
Yeah.
it's scanning itself based on a template
The
that
DNA?
soul has. 100%. I was blown away when I was studying it and it was just like, wow, this is so beautiful. And it was the realization that actually our biofield is not in it. Our human is inside our biofield.
Mm.
It's not the
Mm.
other way around. We always think that it's the soul is inside the human. It's actually no, the human is inside the soul. You
Mm.
understand? It's sort of it's so much bigger.
Yes.
So tell me, what is, I'm going to throw you a really heavy question, but answer as you will. What do you consider is your understanding of consciousness?
I read that question because you sent me, for people to know, you sent me those ahead of time, and I read that quite a few times. And I think I don't ever use that. I don't ever feel called to use that word
Okay.
unless, here's an interesting thing, unless I'm speaking Portuguese or Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the language we're speaking depicts how we perceive something. And the word that I more use is awareness. And they're synonymous,
Hmm.
but awareness is, there is a quantum field. There, I don't, that's not even a vibrationally, a mostly aligned word. There is a field,
There's a
a
field. Yeah.
vibrational field that is this universe,
Hmm.
the whole universe. Our soul holds awareness of that field of this universe and beyond. So awareness is always there when seen through the eyes of the soul. And this is an example. Someone can come to you and say something that may not be very kind. It actually might be pretty nasty, you know, and we all have free will. So we have the free will of how to respond or not at all to that vibration from the field that's being put out. A defense towards that is an egoic response because they've said something nasty. They may have pointed at you while saying it, but only your egoic self would make that behavior about you
Hmm.
because what they're doing is just showing you who they are, not who you are. The soul would see that and immediately see that person is suffering, that person is angry, sad, resentful, all those mind-based things,
Mhm.
the soul would see that's awareness. That's what awareness is, seeing reality. Because seeing that, oh, they said this about me. Oh my God. That's the ego. That's this. That's blinding us to the reality of who we are. So awareness is about seeing through the eyes of the soul and seeing the reality of the occurrence, no matter what it is. Whether it's you're at a birthday party and everything's really happy and good. Or you're driving to work and there's traffic and it's like really a headache and all this kind of stuff. And if we want it to, everything can still be good. It's about the perspective through which we see it. That's where awareness or consciousness resides. And awareness is these little things like this, because, for example, I lived, as I said in the beginning, I lived in a very violent home. My own biological mother, when I was 6 months old, she had never held me up until I was 6 months old. And when I was 6 months old, she packed her things
Gosh.
and left me in the apartment where she lived. And my very first memory of life is laying in a crib. There's a door. The room where I'm at is dark, and there's a door, a hallway into a door, and there's a light in the door, and just beyond the doorway. And I can see the light, and I can feel that I'm alone.
Mm.
So many would see that and say, oh, I've been abandoned. I did for a long time. I saw that as how could she have left me? All of that. And
Mm.
it built for years and years and years. I know I must have been crying. Couldn't she hear me? So I manifested situations and people in my life that could never hear me. And, we just repeat those things until I was sitting and painting, I don't know what, one day. And it was something of a very expansive message. And suddenly I saw myself in the bed again as another layer. That's why she left. So I could remember who I was as a soul from that young point and allow that to continue to evolve to where I am today so I could see the reality of things. Because had she stayed, I may not have remembered. There are a lot of other details. My mother has psychological challenges because they're Native American people. And from my great grandmother on back, children have been stolen from the family and by the Christian church, and all that passed down, 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 and got to her place. And she's like, I'll just beat them to the punch. I'll just leave them so they won't be stolen from me. That fear. And oh my gosh, then as that expansive happens, I get to see, my God,
Mm.
what amazing, powerful soul she must have been. Because I chose to come in and experience that, so did she. What an amazing, powerful soul it must have taken to say, okay, I'll go in there. I'll be this biological mother in that continuum of that family. And I'll put 3 children into the world and I'll leave. I'll just walk away from them.
Yeah.
That takes a
Big-
powerful soul. So
Yeah.
therein is awareness. These are examples of awareness, seeing the reality of who we are. People are doing the smiley face on Xanax kind of thing mask or the doom and gloom mask because they haven't reached that awareness. When you reach that awareness, that the first time it happens, it startled. It did me. Maybe other people are ready, but better prepared than me. But once you get accustomed to that occurring, oh my God, it's
Mm.
like somebody has just hugged you and says, "Come, we have things to share with you." And it gives you that moment to sit in that stillness.
Yeah.
That is the focus of the work I do with folks one-on-one or in groups, is teaching the awareness of that field and how we reach that place that is beyond the mind.
Beautiful. I mean, I hear you call it awareness because you're seeing, I can see how you see it. You're seeing it in an expansive way. Whereas
Mm.
when I look at it, I look at it as observation from above. So
Hmm.
f-
That's the mind's perspective.
absolutely. But for me, I had a very similar aha moment a few years ago where I was looking back at my own childhood, my parents, my issues, all the baggage that we all come with. And I had a very similar kind of awareness. I like the word, I don't normally use it, of, oh, wow, I now understand it. And when you suddenly understand it, you're no longer dragged down by it. You're no longer, it's
Exactly.
kind of you're freed. It's suddenly your heart just frees, and there's no, I call them hooks,
Yeah.
kind of those hooks that then
Keep us
make you
stuck.
ruminate of, I was abandoned,
Yeah.
I was this, I was that, I was, all the labels that we give to
The
humanity.
beliefs, the
Yeah,
beliefs.
exactly. And it was kind of like all the hooks just let go. And it was so like poof, so
Well,
magical.
focus right there where you are. You were focusing on the expansiveness,
Yeah,
and the hooks just came undone.
yeah,
Why we go back to, well, disconnect this? No, if we focus there, the hooks get deeper.
yeah,
If we just focus on the expanded expression or the expanded perspective of it, the hooks come on. They can't follow you there
yeah,
because they're not aligned with that frequency.
yeah,
We
yeah.
only experience, this is something I say over and over in the classes and things I do. You can only experience what you are in vibrational alignment with.
Mm,
If you are ill, if you are experiencing disease, it is because you are in vibrational alignment with that. And the moment you are no longer in vibrational alignment with that, the disease cannot exist within your field.
mm.
That's a powerful one.
That's a
It-
very powerful one.
because it is, there are many stories, I'll call them stories or interpretations about how disease came about. Well, did the creator create this and put it here so we could experience that? And to that, I say no. There is a secondary field other than the field that is created by the creator itself. And I have only become fully aware of this field through which things are manifested in the past 6 months. I knew it existed. I didn't, but I just didn't have a full awareness of what is that? Why are people choosing suffering? Because suffering is a choice. What's going on? How is it those hooks can just keep digging in deeper and keep us stuck? We want to be free from that, but we're focusing on the hook and we're told that we have to process it and all of these things, and that's why I call it the merry-go-round effect. So
100%.
yeah, it's the merry-go-round effect. And I say this very respectfully. If we're not teaching people to look within now, we're stuck on the merry-go-round. As teachers, healers, guru, whatever that is that you call yourself, it's just a label. And that label itself creates that distance because that says, I am and you're not yet. So I'm going to teach you how to, which we needed some of that to return to the awareness that that soul was receiving, but the ego shadowing it and manipulating it into something that wasn't what was intended. And it's just, I'm coming right back around to what you just simply said. When you focused on the expansive perspective, all the rest just let go. And that's where that's what's calling to us, to get beyond the idea that we're just human, we're having a human experience, or this really distorted idea that we came here to forget. That's very provable not to be true, because you can ask a 4-year-old child about, you may not use the word ethereal, but about the things that they can see and experience beyond the physical, they didn't forget.
Yeah,
That forgetting only happens from about 6 or 7 years old on, and then it wanes and wanes, and then the forgetting is there.
yeah.
But we did not come here to forget. We came here to experience this realm as souls
Mm.
and see through the events that are created, how would we respond? How would we evolve? Would we see the wisdom in the event? Would I see, she left because I needed to be ready to be able to do what I do now because of the way everything is? Because this is a depiction of the soul.
Mm.
I have searched and searched and searched and searched and searched for a depiction of, well, what people ask, what is the soul? The only thing that's missing here is a very powerful point of light in the center of this, reflecting out as light does, just as the light is on your face again. This happened the last time we did a video like this.
It did actually.
It did. The light, we're aligned, we're on track with you. So the soul is an enormously faceted form of light. It has a field, an
Mhm.
energy field that is spherical, just like the universe is. All reality is spherical. Illusion is linear. And that light that is in the center projects out in every direction. I don't know if that's 360 degrees. I don't know. In every
Yeah.
direction, up, down, every direction. This might be the window through which the journey that we're experiencing right here, you and I talking, that's the window for the expression of that light. That's why I say, I am a soul of pure light. And in the expression of that light, I am these things, because that best depicts who we really are. Because, stay on track, James. So, if you're experiencing another journey, and you are in 1340, and there are events there that are occurring that hold wisdom that is important for you right now, because from the perspective of the soul, this one's happening right now too. It's not, oh, past life. That, when we use words like that, we blind ourselves to parts, pieces and parts of the reality of it. And so awareness, even deeper into awareness expands into this. This might be a journey, an expression of that light in another dimension, or in another universe, or in another vibrational field totally. All of it accessible in this now moment. So why do we need to come into the now moment and in the heart space? To access this immenseness that is the field of awareness of all that is.
I love it. And I love how you used that globe because in reality, when I work and I look at the energy lines, I see it as a globe and I see it just like you've described, with the only difference is, as we said at the beginning, it's an ever evolving, ever changing globe. So the
Mm-hmm.
way that I sense it and I see it is very much like the sky, or I don't have underwater vision, but I can, sort of imagine the sea and the different flows of water and how the different temperatures impact the different flows. Same with the sky, when you look at the clouds, sort of they have different flows, different
Mm-hmm.
um,
Expression.
consistencies, it's
Yeah.
a different consistency. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very much what you described with the multifaceted globe. is that it's, you know, sort of it's continuously moving, continuously changing, depending on
Mhm.
what's happening in the different timelines, what's happening in the now, and what's happening with your system currently.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
at least that's how when I work, that's how I see it. I'm sure that
The
many people see it
to what,
differently.
where are you focusing?
Yeah,
That's what changes things. Where are you focusing? Are you
exactly.
focusing on what liberates you, or are you focusing on the hooks and trying to deal with the hooks? Because then
Mhm.
you'll just get more hooks, as you call them. If you're focusing on what liberates you, you'll get more of that.
Yeah.
And an important thing to note using that word is that love, and people, you have, so like consciousness, people have a lot of interpretations of what love is. But bottom line, love liberates us.
Mm.
Love does not imprison us. If we are using the word love and then explaining something that is imprisoning, that's a mind-based distortion of love.
Love has no judgment. Love has no constriction. Love has no um, beginning or end. And that's
No,
why they say love is divine, because it's one when I connect to it, it's one tune, it's one resonance that basically connects us all, because we all have that particular tune. We all have different songs,
yes,
but every single one of us has that particular instrument, the
yeah,
instrument of love. And
yeah,
it's one sound. And it's the
yeah.
same sound that is in nature. And that's why when we go to nature, we rebalance
Hmm. With that frequency.
because
Yeah,
it's that frequency. You know, it's
yeah,
not the gushing love. It's not about a gushing love. It's a
yeah,
frequency of peace.
yes,
So
yeah.
James, I'd love for you to show us, if you can, some of your paintings, or talk us through a little bit about your work, because I think it's so amazingly special what you do. I think it's such a gift. And
Thank
I
you.
would really, you know, sort of I've picked your brains about life and things, but I would really love to share with people the actual work that you do, because it's stunning to
Mm.
look at.
Well, interestingly enough, you asked that at this point in the conversation because I just finished what I call a soul painting,
Ah,
and I'll explain what a soul painting is. A soul painting, someone can come as a service. They'll come and say, I would like to become more aware of this or that, or I want to know myself as a soul. I hear this about what some of the things you say. And so, okay, let's make a Zoom appointment and let's just have a conversation. And the conversation that my mind self carries on with them is just about, well, what drew you to this? How did we arrive here? And those basic things.
mhm,
And in that moment, as the mind is occupied and not in the way, the soul comes forward. And it is literally as if the soul kind of just pulls up a chair beside me, and we're both looking at the screen at the form that I'll be painting this for. And the soul will begin to tell me a story. Sometimes that story is about their origins because the soul is aware that that's important for them to become aware of. It's about activities or things that soul came into this realm to learn about, to achieve, to perceive, however, whatever words you want. And then there are always different facets and different details about something that is written in their DNA that the soul is fully aware that them becoming aware, holding that awareness, it will create that that opening, that expansive. And I'll show you, it's over here. This one that I just finished, knocked myself in the mouth.
wow. Hmm.
This is just what we were talking about. This painting actually is the synthesis of two souls. But if you turn it like this,
Yeah.
there's really no right side up.
Yeah.
Oops, let's see. There's really no right side up. You can turn it either way. So there is no as above, so below. There's none of that mind-based division. This is a synthesis of elements to create, oops, the point of light. That is the entry point through which wisdom occurs into this physical realm. There are many, many different elements here. So this is the, I'm going to say the mother of a son that is an adopted child that has been with her from a very young age, I think single digit age. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think 6 or 7. And this son, in this experience here, is walking through a journey with Down syndrome.
Okay.
And in that Down syndrome, he resides in the state of being because some of the things that he has written and expressed to her through moments sitting under the trees, because she lives right beside the land that's right beside her house is a sequoia forest in
Oh,
Northern
wow.
California. And yet he talks to her about traveling through the stars and to the planets, and keeps reminding her of how able she is to do the same thing, that he is here on the earth to walk this journey and show these things. And then there are some very specific things to her, but these are vibrational depictions of that field of awareness. He is going to work in manifesting these fields because he is very soon to transition. He's very ill. And he himself has told her, I'm ready. It's my time is coming. The moment is coming very soon. And he is in all of the Down syndrome and the limited egoic mind base, he has all this wisdom that he shares with her. So she asked me to do a painting that would depict a unified field of the both of them. And this painting speaks because she has spoken with me in session about fearing the grief that she'll feel when he goes. And I told her, I said, we all feel. Never deny yourself to feel, but important is that you don't linger there. Because people will come into, for example, the feeling of grief, and they'll live the rest of their lives there. It will imprison them because they think that the love that they felt for that person is connected to the level of grief they feel for them now. And that's all illusion. That's not real at all.
So tell me,
Love,
what is your thought about death? How do you
but
see?
death doesn't exist. Death doesn't exist. I said this already.
Yeah.
Reality is a constant state of change and transformation and growth, change, growth, and transformation. When the tree reaches the point where it's moment to fall in the forest, it's completed that phase of its presence here. It falls to the forest and immediately begins an even more rapid expression of change and transformation. It becomes a home for all kinds of the microbiome. Even little critters crawl up in it and make their little burrow homes, and even maybe squirrels or who knows what else. So it's immediately transforming into something new. When this transition, leaving the form, because grief comes from the illusional attachment to form. This form doesn't have the capacity to love. It is the soul within us that loves. It is the soul within us that loves in a way that liberates us.
Mm.
So when, for example, in this case, when he meets that point of transition and leaves the body, if we didn't live in the modern world, the egoic modern world we live in now, we would allow that body to return to the earth just as the tree does.
Yeah.
It's only now that we buy caskets or we put people in mausoleums and we do all this, all that stuff to make sure that they know we loved them, when the reality of that is all of that is just satisfying the egoic self. Having had two very powerful transitional experiences, what people call NDEs, they give it the label so it blinds them to the reality of the expansiveness that's occurring. In that, it was shown to me that all life is a continuum. That's what all of this is about. The
Mm.
continuum that comes from the central sun of awareness of how the structure of this universe exists. And that doesn't mean just the Earth. That means every planet, every star, everything, whatever is all out there is all a continuum.
Yeah.
And so when we use the word death, we blind ourselves to that expansive, but it comes back to awareness. We literally blind ourselves when we use the words, the things. Well, we said this earlier, not just the language that you speak depicts how you see something. The words that we use, the what would sound like a language that is the vibrational expression of the soul. That's not a language. That is like water. It's the sound that it's the same as the sound that water makes when it runs over rocks or goes around trees. Those sounds that that people buy machines and put by their bed to help them sleep at night so they can remember that. It's not a language, but people want to call it light language, but it isn't a language at all. It is a continuum of expression of frequencies that the soul emits into this realm. So death doesn't exist. It's all transformation, transition and transformation. And a beautiful thing to be aware of when someone has a transitional experience, what's happened is usually something really intense is happening to the form. An accident. Women have had them in childbirth. I mean, all kinds of different things. Something's happening to the form that the mind can't handle or can't conceive. It's overloaded.
That you can't put into a box, basically, and say, well,
Exactly.
it's
So,
this.
so
Yeah.
the mind shuts down and the soul comes forward. That's
Yeah.
why people have these stories of these expansive experiences, what they saw, what they felt, all of it. But what happens is when they come back and allow then the mind to tell the story, it's skewed. So they're not really telling the story of the full expansiveness. Someone will see the frequency that is the creator, and because they might be religious, they'll call that frequency Jesus Christ. Well, I saw Jesus Christ, but I know I saw Jesus. Well, they're saying that because that's what the mind can conceive of what occurred. But in reality, the soul that came into a physical form that was given the name Yeshua or Christ or whatever the name was is no different a soul than any of us.
Yeah.
And so many times while that soul was here said, you are as it's even written in the Bible, you are as I am and will do even greater things than I. Why? Because that soul was aware of how things would evolve, how reality was a constant evolution. Never intended for Christianity to be created, never intended for a religion or a following, or even what you might refer to as Christ consciousness. That's an illusional, it's a distortion of the frequency that was expressed through that soul, through that form. The message, there were all kinds of messages, but the foundation of them was look within you. This magnificence that you see with my journey is within you as well. And that's the message that is so important right now.
So if there is a message that you could leave within the collective, what I mean, is that your message, or what would you like to say to anyone listening so that they can find some resonance and some synergy?
Find your way home. That home beyond the mind, beyond the hooks, beyond the imprisonment, beyond the distortions, only of a million piece puzzle, only seeing six pieces and calling that reality. Move beyond that now. All that is resides in synthesis. All we have to do is look at nature. Every single element of nature, from the blade of grass to the fern to the elements of the microbiome to the rain to the birds, to every element of nature works in synthesis. It doesn't work for the individual or for itself. It works for the whole. There is no one. Source itself is comprised of innumerous brilliant elements unified so that the expression of wisdom can be made through it. It doesn't own it. It doesn't, it doesn't have, it doesn't label it, because if the moment you label it and put it in a box, it no longer evolves, so it's no longer reality. Find your way home to this awareness, and what you will feel when those hooks come undone, and that levity and that strength. There'll be no more doom, there'll be no more gloom, there'll be no more of
No
any of
more
these
fear.
things. No more fear.
Mm.
Fear is only based in the mind. The
But
heart
fear
does
is at the
not.
moment what's holding us back, and we need to stop fearing and we need to start
Yes.
trusting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Trust. Start trusting. Focus on the trust part of that. Focus on trusting. I mean, and the moment that any of you that hear this, that anyone says within themselves, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go and just let myself walk out into the park, or again, walk out into the woods, or walk to the beach, or wherever you are, whatever calls to you, and there's no right way or there's no wrong way. Whatever it is that's calling to you, that's what's most important for you. Because the beauty of what's occurring now in this awareness is each one of us holds, written in our DNA, holds things like
Mm.
this awareness, to walk through it and experience the expansion of it. Once it is done, it's here. It's in the field now. It's a possibility. And when each one of us takes that piece within us that's here to be expressed and puts that out here into the field, there are places to focus. Oh, I can focus my attention and my effort and my energy here. Let me focus on something balanced within me and see what comes,
Yeah.
and trust what comes. And again, it will start in whispers. Trust the whispers first, because after the whispers come a more present voice within. And it may not come in words, it may come in a smell, the smell of a flower, or
Yeah.
the
Or it
smell of
might
something.
come in images.
And it might come in images. It might, or a sound, a note of a song or something. But trust it. And the moment that you hear it or feel it or sense it within you, and it stops you, pause. Give it a moment. Because a lot of times those messages are sent and we go, oh, and then we just keep on with whatever, oh, well, I've got to do that. We don't give ourselves that pause. The more we choose to do that pause, the more powerful and expansive that expression has the opportunity to occur.
Mm.
Come home. It's time to come home.
What a beautiful, beautiful way to end this chat. Really, really stunning, James. Really, really, really beautiful. Thank you for your time, for your guidance, for your beautiful words. You're a very special soul, young man.
Well,
Really,
thank you.
very,
As are
very,
you, and as are we all.
yeah, yeah. And I would love if you could share how somebody can find you. We'll put it obviously at the bottom of the video, but if you could
Mhm.
just say how people can find you.
Mhm. Email is the quickest because I check emails every morning, and that is alignmentlife11 at gmail.com, just as it's spelled out. And then 11 is the number 11. Alignment Life 11, my website is synthesis111.com. And that's where you can see more of the paintings, the stories of the paintings. Some of the paintings that are here in the background, the stories of their messages, those are personal paintings of my own. The services that I have there on Facebook at Synthesis 111 as well, and on TikTok at Synthesis 111. I usually post there once or twice a week with just messages and things like that.
Beautiful. And if you could send me a photograph of your, remember that beautiful blue, I think it was your synthesis painting, I think it's the one that basically went to me going, you need to contact this man years ago.
Oh,
It
I
was
don't know. Oh, I think I know. Yeah.
the big board that you use with your pieces.
Oh, okay. That's the one I have here on my table with the whale in the center.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you can take a photograph of that, because I want to put that as the image for this video.
Okay. Yeah, I can send it to you either through email
Yeah,
or
no, that would be really lovely. I think it'd be a really beautiful, striking image to put, if you're happy for me to obviously put it.
sure, sure. Yeah.
Because I think it's such a stunning image. Your work, honestly, you've progressed, you've grown, you've evolved and keep going because the stuff that you're doing and how you're sharing your gift is a real gift, James.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I can't wait to see. I mean, that's the reason I do what I do. I want to see others' gifts because no one of us has any greater gifts than the other.
Yeah, and that's why this podcast it has been created is literally just to say, right, everybody, let's just bring some light and some love and some beauty and some sharing and
Yeah.
it's not about, well, as you say, the guru, it's not about, I am here, I've
Mm-mm.
learned all this, yeah, okay. Some people have, some people haven't, some people it comes naturally.
Yes.
And we're all equal. We're all
Yes.
beautiful collective building this new energy that we really need to step into.
Mm. Amen.
Amen. Right,
Oh,
lovely. I'm going to let you go because I've taken enough of your time. But yeah, keep in touch. Send me the thing via email, and when I edit it, it's going to take me probably 2 days to edit, and then I'll put it up,
okay.
and it will
Okay.
go up in YouTube, Spotify, and the Weavers of Consciousness.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, today is my first day off. So today's the first day that
Ah,
I'm going to, after we're finished, I get to go and look at all that.
okay,
Yeah.
well, go, no pressure. I'll put it up once it's done, and then you can, I
Oh,
hope you
well,
like
I'll share it everywhere.
it.
I want people to know about your site and about the work that you're doing as well. Everywhere I can share it, I'll share it. Say, hey, check
Thank
this channel out.
thank you. All right, my love. Well, look, stay safe,
You too.
and may light always be with you.
And with you.
All
Thank you.
right, take care.
Bye.
And just stop.